Hello my fellow designers, welcome back to D-Life HD. This is Victor, and today we are going to be reviewing Bowser's Fury on its own. So without any further delay, let's jump right into it.
I was a worker, had to upgrade to a boss. Used to live in the hood, but had to upgrade to a loft.
When I sat down to play Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, I thought about it. And after playing Bowser's Fury for a long time, I think I want to review it on its own. It is very similar to 3D World in its build, that being the items and the enemies and the graphics overall, but it is completely distinct and unique on its own, and I think it's worth giving a fair shot by itself. But the game is not fully fleshed out as something as big as Mario Galaxy or Odyssey, and so I will not be reviewing it in the traditional sense that I usually do, with different categories like gameplay and graphics and sound and all that. Instead, it's kind of going to be an open discussion where I'm going to talk about the game's quirks, what's bad about it, what's good about it, and kind of give a general overview and what I really think of it. Because as it stands on its own, it is a short experience, but I absolutely enjoyed it and adore it. Bowser's Fury sees you being sucked to a series of connected islands with water in between. And like traditional Mario 3D games, you're going around and you're collecting things. Of course, in Mario 64, you collect stars. In Mario Sunshine, you're collecting shines. In Odyssey, you're doing moons. And in this game, you collect cat shines. Because 3D World's whole theme is centered around cats for some reason. Not sure why, but I like the aesthetic. And so in this game, you are collecting cat shines. What's cool about this game is that the whole world is open, and it's not huge by any means. It's several islands sprinkled throughout this sort of lake area, but you're not required to complete any levels of any kind. Instead, it seems that each island is a sort of its own standalone thing, where you have a certain amount of shines that can be collected by doing objectives within the island, and sort of real-time events that take place on these islands. Now, at the same time, while you are dealing with having to collect these shines, Bowser is pretty angry for some reason. He's taken on this sort of black goop style, and he likes to set everything on fire. And so, with these sort of real-time events, Bowser will reawaken from his state of slumber and start attacking you on spot. And what's really cool is when you enter into this mode, you can't necessarily fight Bowser because in this state, he's humongous. And so on your own, you basically are left to flee from the scene. But as you collect more shines, you have what is referred to as the Giga Bell appear. And it's sort of like the milestone. So once you reach a certain amount of cat shines, then you can unlock the Giga Bell for the first Bowser fight. And there's multiple Bowser fights throughout the entire experience, and as you go, it requires more cat shines to unlock these fights. But when you first get the Giga Bell, you become this ginormous kaiju-sized Mario, and you go and do a boss fight. And it is really cool, actually, because it's giant, and it seems that Nintendo has been focused on just making giant things, like with Pokemon and the Gigantic Max, or whatever it's called. I don't know anything about Pokemon, but that's another thing that has to do with Pokemon, where you do these humongous battles. But it's really cool, and it adds another addition and depth to the gameplay, because you're not just focused on getting the shines, but in real time Bowser will just appear at random, sometimes shorter amount of time from when he appeared previously, sometimes it's a while, and you're kind of just left waiting because there are certain shines that you can't access unless Bowser comes through and sets these blocks on fire and blows it up, and you can get to a secret passageway to get a shine. but overall it's a really cool experience. And also there is a multiplayer edition where you are teamed up with Bowser Jr. the entire time, because Bowser Jr., he's a bad guy, but he's sort of a wimp, and all he wants is his dad back, and he can't do it on his own. So Mario is going to help Bowser Jr. free his dad from this enraged state. And it's really cool to have Bowser Jr. and a second player can join up, and I gave the controller to my very young brother, and we played it together, and it was a lot of fun. Now, I can see 3D Mario going this direction, and I absolutely want it to. Having an interconnected world, something similar to Breath of the Wild, where you get to choose where you want to go, is something that would be awesome. So cool for Mario. And we're sort of seeing this, even though everything is sort of a distinct level on its own with the water separating the different islands. I think we can see an open world 3D Mario game someday, where every world is connected and you go to different regions of some kind. I mean, think about it. What if all the Mario Odyssey levels were on one big platform? The world would be pretty big, because the levels on their own are pretty massive as well, but having them all interconnected would just be so cool. And I think Nintendo is really testing the waters to potentially have the next big Mario game be in that nature. Maybe Mario Odyssey 2 is just a really big open world, or maybe we're not getting an Odyssey 2 and we're getting the next thing, Mario Super World. I don't know, they'll probably name it something ridiculous. But if they're testing the waters with a short, 3 to 8 hour experience like Bowser's Fury, and it goes well, which, I mean, seeing the sales and seeing the reaction, I think the general sort of accepted experience has been positive with it. I think that this is something they're going to want to do, and clearly they have the means to do it, because Bowser's Fury is such a cool little chicken nugget of an experience. Let's go into some positives and negatives. On the positive side, this experience on its own is extremely fun. Just on its own, it's Nintendo at its core, just super, super fun to go around, and you have your power-ups and you're fighting enemies just like you would in a 3D Mario game, but it sort of has the mechanics and feel of 3D World. Also, being able to take this on the go, I think the Switch lends itself really well. That's something that we got to experience with Mario Odyssey, and I think it's just overall really cool. Some of the downsides, though, are the fact that you can't access this on its own. Maybe you had a Wii U and you already played 3D World and you don't want to play it again, and this is all you can do to get access to Bowser's Fury. But you can't go buy it as like a $20 or $15 game on its own. You're going to have to buy the entire $60 price tag if that's all you wanted to play. Also, it's really, really short, like extremely short. If you wanted to, you could clear this in probably 2 to 3 hours, because it is basically just 3 different regions with a couple different islands in each area, and if you wanted to, you can just go through each and just collect the base amount of shines. I personally got everything, and I'm trying to just clear it 100% because I want to fully experience it. But if that's not what you want to do, it's just a really short experience overall. That said, I think Bowser's Fury is amazing. Of course, it has a few hiccups because it's short and it's sort of just testing the waters for Nintendo. That's what they like to do. But honestly, in addition to the epic game that is 3D World, having this on the same cartridge, it's super cool. And finally, I want to say that I just love all of the graphics that they've used to advertise this game, with the sort of backwards shot of Mario standing on the hill with Bowser Jr., and then it's just raining with this humongous enraged Bowser. It sort of takes on a darker tone, and I think it's super cool and lends itself to Mario really well. And I got a really nice poster from GameStop as a pre-order bonus that's definitely going right up there alongside all the rest of my posters, because I love Mario, and seeing this sort of darker tone Mario, it's awesome. And I can't wait to see what Nintendo does outside of Bowser's Fury.
Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought. Check the description of this video for a link to our community Discord. We always have good discussion in there. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like these. And lastly, check our Twitter account for more gameplay on the latest releases. But most importantly of all, always remember to stay 1-up.